every amount of pain there.
Something big, like a Star Wars or a Marvel.
Wouldn't have been good, but would have been like, oh, no! You are at the movies with Ace Supreme
and Martin Supreme. Wow, that worked pretty well.
That was pretty good. That was pretty good. First pod of 2026. Thank you all for joining us into the new year. And if you're new around here, welcome. We discuss movies of varying topics, not just at the movies, but we both did go to the movies to see our first topic here. It's Marty Supreme. It's finally came and went. One of the Safdies back at it again. Josh Safdie, great name. Starring Timothée Chalamet. This is a Timothée Chalamet joint. If he had an insane marketing campaign. I mean, it was impressive. That alone.
Yeah, I really like how much he sold this movie. It's there's not too many. They keep saying this thing that like the movie star is dead. Like you keep seeing think pieces written about it. You keep hearing it on podcasts that aren't ours. That we don't have actors that sell movies anymore. It's all IP. It's all familiar IPs and products and things like that. But I mean, here he is. This is the movie star. He's Paul Atreides. He's Willy Wonka, and he's Marty Supreme. I mean.
Yeah,
it's undeniable. And I love how hard he sold this movie. It was not just, flash in the pan interviews on Hot Ones. It was as aggressively annoying on social media and in your face. You can tell that he is chronically online, like many people of our generation. It was very, very smart.
It was weird. Of course, being around the holidays, I was around family. And there were not only people my age that knew of an A24 movie. I didn't have to mansplain to them, as I sometimes do during the holidays, about some underrated movies in the theaters. But they knew lines from it. Like, that's how, active in the algorithm these ads were. The line where when Marty's laying in the bed and Gwyneth Paltrow's like, well, what if it fails? And he's like, that doesn't even enter my consciousness. Like, somebody quoted that. And it's somebody that I know that's not into movies, like not a movie buff by any means. So that alone, I was like, oh, this is gonna hit different. This might actually hit a cultural zeitgeist that A24 I don't think has really ever seen before. I think it was their biggest opening weekend ever.
I think A24 has made it pretty clear that they're not the, boutique independent studio anymore. They have made it abundantly clear they want to make blockbuster movies. They want to cast people like Dwayne "The Rock" Johnson and things. They've increased their budgets. I believe it was 4 years ago they had never made a movie that cost more than $15 million. And I mean, this movie definitely costs a hell of a lot more than that. I think this movie's budget was closer to $60 million.
Oh yeah. I mean, the cast alone, the Gwyneth Paltrow alone is going to cost you half that.
All things considered, this looks every bit of $60 million. It's a great looking movie. The production design's fantastic. And, if this movie failed, would that mean that A24 has to kind of scale things back again and kind of just do these little $5-10 million projects over and over again? Maybe, but it didn't. And it succeeded, I think, on all fronts that it tried to achieve. And most importantly, we finally learned which Safdie brother made Good Time and Uncut Gems.
It really is. I mean, the first 20 or so minutes, maybe even less than that, it's your coming of age sports movie. You're following this character that has entered the British Open, and then we have said it off camera. As soon as that bathtub breaks through the floor, the movie turns into that lovely Safdie brothers chaos that is so entertaining to watch. For some people, that might put them off if they're not familiar with the Safdie brothers' work. But I'm sure for both you and me, it was like, all right, the gas pedal is now full throttle.
I have conflicting feelings on this movie's second act. On one hand, I think it's really fun to see such a colorful range of characters. There's a lot of really great, 1-2 scene bit characters. There's a lot of great supporting performances from Tyler, the Creator, and Gwyneth Paltrow that are kind of, in this movie. There's a lot to appreciate, But from like a plot and structure standpoint, this movie kind of just like comes to a grinding halt to take you on a coaster ride, and then becomes like this like fast paced one long terrible day slash night movie, which is kind of what the Safdie brothers
Yeah.
have made before. And then it bookends itself. The chaos dies down, and it doesn't feel completely out of nowhere. It's just a gigantic tonal shift that I don't think yields mainstream appreciation.
Yeah.
I don't know. I don't know how the masses feel about this movie.
Yeah, I'm not the first one to have this take, but I think that whole fast pace in the middle, I think, is kind of a symbol of how people in their 20s feel right now. This is a movie that takes place in the 50s, has the kind of filmmaking style of an 80s movie, but then has the dialogue more for modern audiences. And I think it kind of it's a, at least for me personally, there was kind of a connection where you have this big dream, and then life just keeps hitting you with roadblocks, and then you feel like you're running out of time, and that's kind of how the pace of this movie is. And I found it brilliant. I think this is a movie that I'm excited to show other people. Because I think everybody will get a different take from it. I think if you're 30 or 40 years old, you might not see that, but you might relate to a different character or see yourself when you were that age. It all depends. It's one of those, I think, great movies that will be fun on the rewatch as well.
Yeah, I mean, I think that this is a very rewatchable movie. I could see myself coming back to this movie. I'm surprised I haven't seen it in theaters a second time yet. Yeah, I mean, I think that there's a lot to appreciate. It never is boring. There's not a single part of this
No.
movie where I'm like, yeah, that's that part I'd skip. Like, no matter what, there's something uncomfortable happening in every frame of this movie. And you gotta love how much everyone leans into the characters that they are portraying, and how kind of over the top some of it is, and it never once takes you out of the story. I think the presentation that you mentioned, where it's set in the 50s, it has very contemporary, very modern dialogue for all the characters, pretty much, but has this like kind of kick-ass 80s score and needle drop, and the cinematography and editing style is very like somewhere between Mean Streets, After Hours, and Goodfellas era Scorsese. It's a very unique movie. I
Yeah.
think. I mean, I was walking out of the theater, and the people in the movie that had just watched the movie with me were like, "When did this take place?" And like, there was like three or
Yeah.
four guys. Like, they're like, I think it took place in the 60s. And then another guy's like, nah, those are all 80s songs. It took place in the 80s. And, like, I just wanted to go turn around and be like, actually, it said at the beginning it takes place in 1952. But, like, I didn't. I didn't want to be the Polar Express kid.
Do you think Marty's obsession in the movie, and maybe this is up to opinion, is his hustle fueled by fuel? Is it his fuel or is it his poison? And I guess it depends what character you are in that movie as well, looking at Marty's perspective as well.
It's definitely his fuel, but it's everyone around him's poison.
Yeah. Yeah.
I don't see this character as any different than Howie in Uncut Gems, or in whatever the hell Robert Pattinson's character's name is in Good Time. He's just a more ambitious and like I guess inherently successful, like, because he's actually talented and skilled at something that isn't like sports betting or crime. Um, but at the end of the day, he's someone who is pushing everyone around him down to get what he wants. He takes advantage of every single person he shares a scene with. It isn't like a hero's journey, and I do appreciate that to a degree. I think there's also an element of it kind of being his own weakness as well. There's every kind of female character that he shares screen time with is a major influence on the way that character acts and how that character behaves. I think what this film has to say about masculinity is very interesting.
Yeah.
It's clear that he got his like lying and manipulation from his mother, who the first time we hear Fran Drescher in this movie, she's she's having the housemaid or maybe his aunt, I don't know, they never establish who that lady is, call him at work while he's selling shoes to say that she needs to go to the hospital because she's trying to get him to stop from going to the London Open.
It's funny too, that opening scene has so many layers, because you have the mother lying, you technically have Rachel lying to get in the store to hook up with Marty. There is a lot of layers of everybody's kind of just lying to each other and hustling around. Like Marty's the central figure we're following, but everybody else isn't as innocent in this either. The Rachel characters also, have a lot of layers here. And the actress, I thought, was phenomenal. It's a great performance. Like, I think without her, the movie doesn't work as well, to be honest. She's a great counterpart to Marty Supreme, Timothée Chalamet's character.
Yeah, hers and Marty's relationship is, like, the heart of this movie, if it has one.
Yeah.
And, like, obviously, I think the last shot of the movie implies that there is a heart for this character.
Very graduate
that he's been
shot.
he's been avoiding. He's been avoiding the responsibility of what it means to be like a human, or like someone with emotional responsibility, as well as like tangible goal setting sigma male grind set.
De Niro in King of Comedy, I think of too when I think of Marty sometimes in this movie, when it's the guy is so determined for a dream that he's willing to do some crazy stuff and some diabolical stuff as well.
Yeah, that's true. There's also moments where he's kind of just an asshole for no reason.
Yeah.
There's a couple of scenes where that comes to mind, where it's like he would get more out of the situation if he played up the charm like he does to Gwyneth Paltrow's character. One that comes to mind is the first time he's trying to get schmoozed by Kevin O'Leary, Mr. Wonderful, who's in this movie, who's got a deal to have him throw a table tennis match as a publicity stunt in Japan, to have like a fake rematch, which he ends up begging on his knees for literally later in the movie, but he turns it down because he's insulted.
As a pro wrestling fan, I get it. You got to do some sports entertainment. Marty Supreme didn't understand that at first. He eventually did with the Harlem Globetrotters as well.
The next scene he did. Like, I think the whole dramatic irony of that next scene is he's like, well, I'm not going to throw a match, and then he's losing one to an actual walrus that's trained to beat him. Like, this whole movie, I just want the character to have some humble pie sooner, so that way he can appreciate what he has going for him.
Yeah.
Hell, if halfway through this movie he just locked in and started selling the fucking orange balls, he would have fucking had everything he needed to get to Japan.
That is what's crazy about the Marty character, is he has more things going for him at, I think he's like 23 in this, than anything I had going for me at 23. Like, come on, like, even with a kid on the way, like, you'll figure it out. Like, you obviously have good business models, but you just keep fumbling it because of your own ego.
Do you think the kid's his?
I think so. I feel like, what's the point of the opening sequence? The opening credits if it isn't?
I mean, yeah, that's a very good point. But there's not a scene where he goes and gets a paternity test.
That's true.
And she lies about her shitty husband beating her, which he does seem like an abrasive asshole, but he didn't give her that black eye that Timothée Chalamet cracks his fucking skull open over.
Yeah, we find out he's not that big of an asshole, I guess. Yeah, we just slowly find out characters just aren't that big of an asshole, but still pretty not great people. I wouldn't be hanging out with some of these characters.
Well, except Abel Ferrara, who we think is just some weird guy who gets his arm smashed by a bathtub and then turns out to be a mobster.
If we thought he just wanted his dog.
Why the hell is Penn Jillette from Penn and Teller playing the Nazi farmer in New Jersey? This movie's casting is crazy. The Academy Awards have a new category this year. That's, been talked about for years, and then everyone forgot about it, but it's happening, I believe, for ensemble cast.
Oh, really? Okay.
Yeah, there's a best casting. The award goes to the casting director and the producers.
Nice.
And it's for a best ensemble. I believe this movie's on the short list. I believe that, what was the other one? Sinners is on the short list.
Makes sense. Especially
Wicked
for
is on
the third
short
act.
list.
Yeah.
But yeah, there's like 5 movies that were on that short list, and yeah, I mean, this one seems the most deserving to me. I don't think there's a single character that I saw in any marketing or any poster material that isn't at least somewhat developed, that there's some sort of arc with. Like, I say what I know I said some things that I didn't necessarily love about the writing of this movie, but one thing this movie gets right is characters.
Yeah.
You know, there's more memorable characters in this movie than I think any other movie I saw this year.
It's probably one of the best pace movies I've seen this year too. Like you already mentioned, like you weren't bored by it or anything. It also helps that we'll be talking about this movie on a future episode. It also helps that the movie I saw right before this was Avatar 3, which the day before. So it was like this 3-hour epic that I do think has pacing issues compared to this tight Safdie Brothers movie really elevated it for me too. An interesting movie to come out during the holidays too. I could kind of see why.
Oh yeah, I mean,
That
releasing
closing
this movie
shot
on Christmas Day makes so much sense.
Yeah, that closing shot, you're thinking about your family as you're leaving the theater. Whether you relate to Marty or not in that scene, you're thinking of somebody that changed your world. Like, I assume what just happened to Marty in that scene.
Yeah, and also, I mean, who's known for going to the movie theaters at Christmas time? Like, I don't know. This movie's kind of awesome and a great look for like the East Coast elitist, demographic. You know, it's like the people who don't go see their families for Christmas, or the New York like Jewish community like rallied to go see this movie. This movie made a lot of money on its opening weekend, like a lot of money.
Yeah, it's nuts. Do you think is this Chalamet's Oscar?
You know, I've been thinking about it, and I remember when the November, December, after this movie had kind of premiered, there was like all this talk, like, yeah, it's great, but then he was selling the movie. He was selling like this abrasive stunt with wearing orange at every event and having a giant blimp and the ball.
Yeah.
You even got the ornament for this thing before seeing the movie.
Had a much more humble acceptance speech at the Critics' Choice Awards compared to his win last year with Complete Unknown.
Absolutely. And I mean, is that just him method selling Marty Supreme ahead of time? In hindsight, I'd like to think it is.
I think it was. Now
I think
looking
there's
back
like,
on it.
There's been this manic year for Timothée Chalamet in the public eye. And I think that all has to do with selling this movie. And I think he's going to eat some humble pie this awards season. And his speech was great at the Critics' Choice Awards. Expect to see him win a Golden Globe.
Yeah.
And, unless there's some big surprise, I think he's the lock for Best Actor this year. You look at the other people that will probably be nominated. Are they going to give it to Leonardo DiCaprio in a movie that I don't think he really... He's the main character. He eats all the screen time. But is he the most interesting character in that movie? No.
No.
Does he do anything halfway near as dynamic as every other character in that movie? No.
No.
The end of the movie, he's like, I love my daughter. At the beginning of the movie, he's like, I left being a explosive expert for a radical movement to raise my daughter. He has no arc.
Yeah.
He just like does shenanigans. It's the
good
dude.
dad.
It's just Jeff Bridges in The Big Lebowski.
Yeah.
Whatever. We're getting sidetracked here. But yeah, I mean, this is Timothée Chalamet's award to lose. And I think there's this feeling, right, in the Oscars where like last year everyone was kind of saying he was going to win for Complete Unknown. He was definitely like a front runner. And then that late in the game push for The Brutalist kind of pushed Adrian Brody over the top.
Yeah.
I think a lot of people didn't...
Who's still doing his acceptance speech right now. Hopefully he wraps it up when the Oscars coming up. Yeah.
Yeah, it's been almost a full year of him giving an acceptance speech.
He's not finished.
But, like, I feel like the Academy voters, one, it was revealed 2 days before the Oscars that 45% of people who voted in the category thought that Adrian Brody had never won before.
Yeah,
which is hilarious.
That's rough. Yeah, that's
He was the youngest person to ever win an Oscar, or the youngest actor to ever win an Oscar for the
he
leading
kissed Halle
role.
Berry on national
Yeah, he
television.
made an ass of himself when he won the Academy Award. So, you know, if Chalamet won last year, he would have beaten that record and been the youngest actor to ever have won for a leading performance in a film. And he didn't win. And then immediately Adrian Brody threw gum at Harvey Weinstein's ex-wife and then gave a 25-minute long speech and made an ass of himself almost as much as he did when he kissed Halle Berry unconsensually. So I think this is gonna be I feel like the Academy voter immediately is like, damn, we should have given it to him last year. Now we have to give it to him this year. Like, regardless of whoever else gets nominated, whoever else is there, I think there's this narrative of like, he's our last movie star. We got to throw some support his way now, in a way that he feels more due than really in terms of like number of nominations and how long he's been around. He really is, like, in all honesty, he's been nominated, what now? This is his third time?
Third one, I think, already, yeah.
But you look at actors like Tom Cruise, Johnny Depp, even Leonardo DiCaprio before he won. You know, there's people out there that are due, but in terms of doing 2 movies a year, and at the peak of their power, he's more due than I think anyone else in the game is right now.
The Oscars seem to be on a young people push as well, with Honora, winning last year and winning Best Actress as well. I think the Academy is also looking at the scope of Hollywood and being like, yeah, who are the next people? As much as we like Brad Pitt and Leo and all these legends, they're not going to be here forever. And what's the state of our industry if we don't find the next Leo or Brad Pitt? So it's one of those things where you could give it to him right now, recognize the talent right now, or you wait. And then he goes on a Leo run and works with all these great directors, and then he gets an Oscar for a good performance, but not the one we really hoped or anything. But it could really go either way here. But no, I'm kind of leaning towards you, though. I don't think his competition is as big as we thought it was going to be this year, especially with the movie delays this year, and that 2025 was supposed to be the big comeback, and that did not happen. So it does leave room for a movie like Marty Supreme to maybe get some W's.
Yeah, I think when we see Wagner Moura there for what's it called, Secret Agent, which is that Brazilian movie, I think there's a couple of other people in the category that could make sense, especially like politically with everything that's going on. The Academy loves to kind of pat themselves on the back sometimes. Secret Agent's kind of one of those movies that is like, this is a movie about Brazil in the 1970s, but it is kind of about now as well, in a way, who their dictator or fascist leader was at the time and what's happening domestically and abroad here. Like, there's that kind of like meta-ness to it all, and Wagner Moura's been around for quite a while now and has done great work as the lead in Narcos. He was in Civil War. He's kind of upped his star power here, but still went back and made a Brazilian movie. So, there's other people that could take it. It's just, in terms of optics, I think it makes the most sense to give it to Chalamet here. Now, I will propose this to you, and I don't know what your thoughts are here, but I don't think Josh Safdie gets a director nomination. And so that, I think, kind of makes things harder. This makes Best Picture nom, but like
Best Director
number
is
8,
very stacked this year.
Yeah, I don't see there being room for Josh Safdie here, which is unfortunate.
How many noms do they usually do? Like 5 or 6?
I think it's 5.
5,
which
yeah,
is
that's what I
tough
thought.
when you have 10 Best Pictures.
Yeah, it doesn't make any sense, to be honest. It's crazy. Your film could win Best Picture, but your director can't even get a nom. But you also don't want to do it by default either. I don't know. There's no real winner there. It'll always be up for debate.
The way I see it, and one thing that I don't think the Academy gets, is like, at the end of the day, the director's like main job is making sure that the actors are giving a competent performance, right? So if you have a best ensemble category and you're giving it to the casting director and you're giving it to the producers, you kind of have to be also giving that award to the director. Like, the director's the one who got those performances out of the actors. There's other people making sure that the movie looks good and is edited well, unless it is like a Paul Thomas Anderson or someone who, writes, edits, directs, and produces their own movies. But I don't know. It is silly. I'm sure for the next several weeks on this program, we're going to be talking about how silly the concept of giving movie awards are.
Yeah, it's gonna be a fun Oscars coverage, but yeah, to kind of close out Marty Supreme, is it? I'll give you the three prompts that I've been doing lately. Is it worth seeing in a theater? Would you buy it physically, or just catch it on streaming?
I'm actually really excited when this movie does hit streaming, just because I know so many people that didn't make an effort to go see
Big
this in
TikTok
theaters
movie
right away.
coming up.
Yeah, and I feel like this movie also kind of has that like vibe of some great like Scorsese films and some early Paul Thomas Anderson films, where if this movie was just on a TV,
Yeah,
let's say I'm at a bar, this movie's on TV at a bar, and it's at the hour mark, I'm not getting up from that table until the
this
movie's
movie
over,
would rule
until I
on
hear
cable.
the credits.
Yeah,
Yeah,
that's
until
very
I
true.
hear Tears for Fears, I'm not getting up from my stool. I'm finishing the movie out. This movie's like made to play on cable. This movie's made to be playing at your uncle's house when you show up for Thanksgiving.
Little
So I'm excited to see this on streaming.
little side tangent about that whole like movie culture and that sphere right now for us Zoomers. I just watched the movie The Founder, with Michael
Yeah.
Keaton, and cute little movie. Um, I didn't realize though, as I'm watching the movie, I basically watched 80% of that movie in YouTube Shorts, like doom scrolling, probably for the past like 5 years. It is a big YouTube Shorts movie. That movie and the plane movie with Denzel Washington. I think I've seen that
Oh,
whole
Flight.
movie. And Sully. I don't know why plane movies are huge on YouTube Shorts culture, but yeah, I'm watching The Founder and I'm like, I feel like I already seen this movie. It's getting crazy.
I was there, Josh. I was there Founder opening day. I watched that movie
Oh hell yeah!
at the movie theater I worked at. I love that film. Um, yeah, that's a funny. It's funny that that's in the YouTube Shorts world.
Yeah, I could
I
see
guess
it.
it's not that surprising.
Yeah, I could see it for some scenes, but and then there were other scenes where I'm like, oh, I could see why they didn't make the YouTube shortcut of the picture that I've seen. What's shitty about it? It's always out of order. I've seen these movies in shorts out of order, so like I don't know what's happening. Did Denzel crash the plane already? What short am I on?
I think that I'm happy that I saw Marty Supreme in theaters. I think the average person who enjoys movies probably doesn't need to see this in theaters. I think this movie plays just as good at home as long as you have a decent sound system. I do think that the dialogue mixing, the soundtrack, all of that kind of stuff is one of the highlights for me. It's a reason why there's as much tension in this movie as there is.
I'd love a Criterion
But-
copy because of the lighting.
Yeah, no, I think it was a visually competent movie. I liked how the camera's a little further back than
Yes. Much like an
then,
80s movie. It's not just always in our faces. It is for the dialogue. It's very close for dialogue. But those tennis matches, which, by the way, the Japanese tennis player, great performance by him. I know we talked about that off camera. Just some great physical acting there. Like I love those wide shots. We just don't get shots like that anymore. And the Safdie brothers have always done that, even in the Smashing Machine. I even saw they had some cool wide shots like that. But it just flows with the movie so well.
I mean, both Good Time and Uncut Gems live a little too much in the close-up for me, to the point in which it can actually get kind of nauseating because you don't necessarily know the makeup of the room that these characters are in. So when they start moving, you're like kind of lost. Which I think is a good style and it adds tension. But I really appreciated how there are plenty of scenes where you can see multiple heads in a frame, or the way that they do the coverage of cars and stuff like that is better in this film. I don't know. This movie doesn't demand to be seen in theaters. I'm happy as many people did. I'm happy this movie was a box office success. But I am really excited to see how this plays on streaming. Um, would I buy the physical copy of this? You know, I probably would, like you're saying, for like the
Yeah,
higher quality watch at home.
if 4K or Criterion dropped, I might be snagging that. Maybe not at full price, but if I see it at a Barnes and Noble on sale, I'll definitely consider it. It's kind of hit the trifecta. I think it's good in any form you see it in. Um, yeah, it might be a movie that end up being timeless. We'll see what age does with this movie. Either it does fall into and it was a weird marketing campaign, or it does become a Chalamet classic, and hopefully it's many more to come. I mean, dude's talented. But now, so we talk about the movie stars, that the age of movie stars people think is dying, but we don't believe in that. But would you now, if you just see a movie poster and you just see Chalamet, are you going? Are you at that point with Chalamet yet?
I've been there. I mean,
Okay.
I'll talk shit on Timothy Chalamet all I want, but I've been on that train since we went and saw with your girlfriend at the time. Call Me by Your Name.
Friend of the pod. Shout out.
Shout out Julia Bonney. You should be a guest soon.
Probably.
But yeah, no, I mean, I think that Chalamet like crushed it all the way back then. I've kind of been there for the ride since. I don't think I've missed a movie of his.
I didn't see Bones and all.
That's all right.
That
That's
the one I
for
missed.
You. That one wasn't for you.
I'm not a known cannibal, so not my taste.
Look like Guadagnino doing that as a follow up, right during the time that Hammer's getting outed as a cannibal is just so many layers of dramatic irony.
Speaking of follow up, you recommended to me, Nate, on hold on. It's all about that transition. There we go.
Wait. What'd you get Marty Supreme?
We didn't do it.
Letterboxd?
Hold on. We didn't do our letterbox score. I fixed it. You're right. First episode of the new year. And I'm already forgetting. I believe I gave this 4.5 on Letterbox. I think this is very strong. Would pretty much recommend to anybody as well.
Yeah, I'm a little disappointed that I didn't get a 5-star movie in 2025. But I feel like this is in that camp of 4.5s that could grow into a 5 for me. I do have a couple of bones to pick with its overall structure. But I mean, this movie, it's going to be one of the most remembered films of 2025, I think. I gave it 4.5 as well.
As
all right.
We gear towards our fun little movie club, Nate recommended Robert Eggers' The Northman, which is the third Robert Eggers movie in his filmography. I believe his big budget era of Robert Eggers, and no, it was a movie I did not catch in theaters. I remember you seeing it and really liking it. Overall, especially as a big Nosferatu fan last year, I saw the vision now. I'm like, okay, this was kind of the foundation for that, and we got some cool Viking stuff in it. Overall, I enjoyed it more than I thought, because Viking media, I never was really into. I'm not a big Game of Thrones person as well. Never really dove into that fantasy. I have a lot of admiration for it. But yeah, I have a lot of admiration for the fantasy genre. I think the Lord of the Rings movies are, phenomenal. But it was never my cup of tea per se. And kind of the beginning of this movie, I was like, okay. It's a story we have seen a million times, but what does it do? And then by the time he gets back to the village, I'm engulfed. I really got into the world. I wanted to see how it would end, and I found myself really liking this movie.
Yeah, to me, I think this is the most accessible and the most approachable Robert Eggers movie yet, even more so than Nosferatu, which is funny to me because Nosferatu was a big hit this time last year.
And I think for a lot of people, it's a little weird. It's a little too weird.
Yeah.
And Northman, don't get me wrong, it's got weird scenes, but I think they happen quicker and they're not the entire movie. Nosferatu, those weird scenes in the Northman, that's the whole movie of Nosferatu.
The scene in this movie that I wish was a flashback and later in the movie, I get why it's not, and I like how they tell this story, so like I obviously wouldn't change anything, but just for the sake of, I've tried to show this movie to people before, and then they get to the scene with Ethan Hawke and the little kid getting naked and eating mushrooms and growling like wolves, and then they're like, all right, Nate, what the fuck is this weird artsy shit? Turn this off. And I'm like, no, wait, it gets good. Like, the next scene,
Yeah.
it gets really good, I promise. But, yeah, I get why people are, like, a little weirded out by some of the things in this film. I actually really, really love how this movie is just kind of a by-the-numbers revenge movie. It's based off the same piece of mythology and folklore that William Shakespeare based Hamlet off of.
It's about to say very Hamlet vibes, of course.
Yep. And it really is just kind of a historical revenge film. But my favorite elements of this movie are how they inject that kind of Norse mythology and like Viking mythology in with the narrative. One of the standout scenes to me is when he has like that vision in the cave with the old man and Willem Dafoe's head, like the Yorick skull. And he's like, yeah, you're going to have to go get that damn sword that only works at night if you want to kill your uncle. Like, go get that thing. And then he has to fight this, like, giant skeleton giant.
Yeah. It kind of felt like I was playing a video game in the middle of this movie. Like, we were just going on quests, meeting a character, then that character's telling us to go somewhere else. It felt like I was playing, like, Oblivion or, like, an Elder Scrolls game.
I also think it's cool how they have, like, the family tree and, like, the bloodline visualized as, like, that kind of tree of life kind of graphic. And how it's important to sow the next line of warrior and keep your bloodline alive and that kind of sour ties.
That kind of taps into a question I wanted to give you. This movie, I think, is actually more similar to Marty Supreme than we think.
Okay. Both sports movies.
Both sports movies. But is masculinity also kind of a villain in this? Does him feeling the need to not only get revenge for his father, but to continue his bloodline, big masculine macho features, in culture, does that ultimately seal his fate, essentially?
Yeah, I mean, pretty much. I think that is a big through line of this story. There's a lot to do with not only revenge, but there is like pride and power as like big themes, right? Because the uncle kills Ethan Hawke, who's the king or whatever of that area, and immediately off camera over the time jump that you're assuming is like 20 something years, loses everything almost instantly. And now he's just like a sheep herder with slaves. He's just some like lord. He's been demoted significantly because he gets invaded and loses. So he's already been humbled. He already was cursed like his dad said he was going to be. But he swore revenge and now he has to take it.
Kind of in that story structure of Hamlet, that sometimes happens, right? Of course, Lion King, big example. Scars, when he takes over the kingdom, it's worn down. It looks like shit. Like, that seems to be a theme sometimes when you're adapting this story vaguely.
Yeah, I mean, it's a line in Hamlet as well, something rotten in the state of Denmark. It's not just saying I'm disgusted by the fact that my uncle has married my mom. My country is gonna suck now too. There's an invading army in the fourth act. And yeah, all of that is valid and real. The kingdom gets lost. That's it's part of the narrative. And that's where like the hubris and like that masculinity kind of comes in. And yeah, it's an interesting theme to have in there. I have a question for you. Does Nicole Kidman work for you in this role?
So yeah, I was also gonna have that question for you. I think in some scenes she's nailing it, and then in other scenes I think she's miscast. And I feel the same way about Anya Taylor-Joy as well. Both lead actresses I think are a little miscast. As much as I really like them as actors, I don't know. Something seems off.
I think Anya Taylor-Joy is a little stronger in this movie. Like, I feel like there's not scenes
definitely
where I think
more than
she's
Nicole Kidman. Yeah.
Yeah, I don't think there's scenes where she's miscast. I
I
think
wish
there's
she had
scenes...
more to do.
Yes, yes. I think there's scenes where it's like I want to see what her character's doing right now instead of what I'm watching.
Yeah, even
Like,
with even with Ethan Hawke and Willem Dafoe, you just got some A tier actors in this, and they don't have a lot because it isn't their story. But I don't know. At the same time, why cast them then? I don't know. It's a catch-22 when it comes to stuff like that.
yeah, that's a good point. I do really, really, really like the scene where he rescues the little boy from Barry Lyndon himself during like that weird like lacrosse game they're playing. And beats the living like daylights out of that Goliath guy. I like the his younger half brother that's like this like real queenie like flamboyant loser.
I wish
like
we had
that
more of him.
I like that the threats to this guy who is essentially the rightful heir to this terrible slave camp.
Yeah, this like only a couple acre camp that like is nothing. He's not coming back to like a castle in gold or anything.
It's kind of a crazy movie. Like there's a big set piece every like 40 minutes that's enough to keep you hooked. I do think this movie has some pacing issues, mostly when they like decide they're going to lock in and do like dialogue and plot for like 15 minutes. You're like, okay, like go back to the revenge thing.
Yeah. It almost
I do think
feels
this...
like the main character loses his own plot in it, which I think was like the choice. Like he rescues his little half brother, but then when you get to towards the end and you realize Anya Taylor-Joy's character's pregnant, it's like, well, then everybody else has to die in order for one of those twins to be king. Like it just has to happen that way. So it was funny how it all happened at the end, and I think there's going to be a lot of people put off by it, but I think it goes back into to kind of the masculinity thing, or he's so focused on this one mission since he was a child, this is all he's thought about, and nothing else could change that at the end of the day.
How much of a yo is it, that scene that they showed in the trailer where they're like invading in the beginning when he's still like just with all those random pillagers, and they throw this spear and he catches it and turns around and throws it back? That's better than any single scene in an Avengers movie, hands down.
Go into the action. I mean, at the end, they're in the volcano. They're fighting with swords and lava. You know what I was thinking about. They were having a battle of heroes. We were getting some Viking version of Anakin and Obi-Wan. I was eating that up.
I wish that Anakin and Obi-Wan were naked on Mustafar. That would have made it way more interesting.
Yeah, when it came to the action, I thought it was all great. Yeah, it kind of loses the Viking movie once you get back to the village. It's kind of just, it's very grounded, and I don't mind that at all. I like grounded movies. I kind of prefer grounded movies, especially for something as grand as this. But does it kind of numb you by the time you get to the final killing where you just know they're both gonna die?
Yeah, I think the movie losing the fantasy elements about an hour before that point, but still focusing on like the beliefs of that, like that preservation of bloodline and all that kind of stuff that's archaic to us now, but those elements still being there. I think it has enough dramatic weight, but I mean, you kind of know he's doomed. Like that's kind of the whole point. So yeah, it is like a little anticlimactic, but I like that Eggers still has the dignity to tell that story without altering the ending.
Yeah, it's the story you wanted to tell.
He has the dignity to portray it in a way that hasn't been seen before. I think the volcano stuff looks great. The way that it's lit and like you can tell it's mostly CGI, but like it's still practically motivated and looks believable.
Yeah, there was some CGI that looked really weird. The wolf in it looked pretty bad. Felt like I was watching an animated movie all of a sudden, but it didn't distract me too much. Some of the deer
in the beginning are a a little rough looking too.
Yeah,
kind of
in all the Robert Eggers movies, the CGI isn't the greatest. So I wasn't expecting it per se, but I was like, yeah, this is just how it is. It's, the budget's the budget.
Where does this one rank for you within the 4 films?
I was about to say, I was trying to think of my ranking. I'd probably go Nosferatu number one, and then I'd probably go Lighthouse. See, I really like The Witch, and I know you're not a big Witch guy as me, but
I like The Witch.
I've said The Witch has I've rewatched The Witch, so it has that power. So I think Northman's sitting at 4, and I'll put The Witch at 3. But I think upon some rewatches, that could easily change. They're neck and neck.
Yeah, this one's number 2 for me. I think Lighthouse is just so unique in its own right. I like how it is simultaneously a lot more like technically proficient than The Witch. I like how stylistic it is, but I also like that it is a movie that pretty much just has 2 speaking characters and is all atmosphere and tension and dialogue. I like that it's pretty much a play with a very dynamic camera. So that one's my number 1. This is probably number 2, just because I think it gets the setting, the dialogue, and like the world all so right. And there's not another movie like this that I can point to that I'm like, yeah, this is like the modern sword and sandals revenge movie. Like, yeah. I don't know. Movies that have come out recently that like almost scratch that itch for me is like The Last Duel, which I don't think is as tonally consistent all the way through as
doesn't
this.
land the plane.
No.
Like Denzel.
I feel like... Okay, hear me out. Is The Last Duel a YouTube Shorts movie?
It could be, aside from some glaring scenes.
I know that Air is.
A lot of context.
Air is definitely... The Matt Damon, Ben Affleck joint Air has to be a YouTube Shorts movie.
This movie came out at a weird time because I think for a lot of people, Nosferatu was the true successor to Lighthouse. This came out, I believe it was early 2021.
I think this came out right at the end of 2022 or the beginning, or no, it was maybe the end of 2021 or the beginning of 2022.
Might have been, yeah. I think it's the beginning of 22. Now that I'm thinking about, so Top Gun Maverick isn't out yet. Like there isn't that big resurgence yet. Unfortunately, this really fell back. Into didn't hit the zeitgeist, but it's sitting on Netflix right now. Maybe it could get some people into it.
Yeah, I saw this movie twice in theaters. I really was hoping it would be successful. I was scared that, like, I don't know, this movie's, like, got, like, 3 times the amount of budget of Lighthouse and The Witch combined. And I don't know why, but I was scared that Egger's first non-A24 movie bombing was gonna, like, throw him 5 years back career-wise.
Crazy they gave him the remake of, essentially an IP in Nosferatu, like, an important remake, in a sense, for... a studio.
Yeah, and I mean, from here, he's doing that werewolf movie that's already shot. Yeah. It's in the can. Comes out next November?
I thought it was this Christmas.
Is it Christmas? That's so stupid. Put that out in a Halloween. Put that out in October.
It's like this Bride movie coming out in like March. Like, I don't want to watch a Frankenstein movie in March. I'm getting... Wow. I'm really feeling like spring with Frankenstein and the Bride of Frankenstein. It's
how like everyone makes the joke like, oh, it's a recession indicator that like this trend's happening. The fact that we're getting like Universal monster movies as genuine horror movies and is like the most World War indicator.
And the next month is like Scream 7. We live in a world where we can't get a Scream sequel in the fall. Like, what are we doing?
Do you think that movie's gonna be good?
No. I will see it though. I'm fascinated.
That trailer looks like a fucking soap opera.
Yeah. I'm fascinated how they're gonna Rise of Skywalker the Scream franchise. Somehow Matthew Lillard has returned.
Somehow Officer Doofy is back. It'd be funny if they made a movie where like the Scream and Scary Movie timelines kind of converged.
What Robert Eggers... it would be really cool. It'd be too dark for Disney to ever touch it, but watching this, I'm like, man, he'd make a kick-ass Pirates movie. Like,
yeah, he would.
Yeah, like...
I don't think he'd have any interest in doing a... I mean, I think he has an interest in doing a movie about pirates.
I was about to say, maybe not of the Caribbean, but a Pirates movie? Sure. Like, I'm down.
There's a rumor that his next movie's A Christmas Carol. That could be cool.
Oh, yes. Because that's is that the non-Johnny Depp one?
That would be the non-Johnny Depp one. That is the Willem Dafoe as Scrooge one.
Yeah.
That is rumored. I don't think that is confirmed.
Both
I
would
think
be
the
two
news
completely
of the
different
Johnny
movies.
Depp one scared him away.
So when it comes to the Northman, of course, well, would you recommend to see it in theaters, to buy a physical copy, or to just stream it?
You know, this kind of is like a physical copy kind of movie for me. I feel like this is one I kind of just want to throw on whenever. I feel like it's juggled around a couple of times since it went to streaming. It started on Hulu, I think.
Oh, it did.
Then it was on Amazon. Now it's on Netflix. I feel like it's one of those movies that's gonna have a hard time staying in one place. So in 10 years, it might be impossible to find. And that's what's scary about the streaming dilemma. So yeah, this is a physical copy owned for me.
If it had like a re-release in theaters for some reason, would you try to get some friends to go see it with you?
I don't know. Like I said, I've kind of failed at showing this one to people before. They think it's a little weird. They think
theater
it's
might be easier though because they're trapped. It's like,
that's a good point.
You got to sit through the dog scene and then you get a good movie.
I don't know. I feel like celebrating Viking stuff is kind of, as a white person, is kind of like a red flag. So I don't necessarily know if I would be getting a group of friends together to go see Viking movie. I've done it once, okay? I don't know if I can do it twice.
Is it a celebration? I mean, nobody's a good person in this. I think it does show how shit this culture was historically.
I don't know. I mean, I think historically speaking, Viking shit's cool. But
from a pure like fantasy standpoint, of course. But if we talk about history, I mean, Vikings were, did some crazy stuff.
They were pretty bad guys, huh?
Yeah.
I guess I would get 5 friends to go see this movie if they re-release it for the 10th anniversary or whatever in 8 years.
Yeah, aside from A Christmas Carol, is there anything that's sticking out in your mind you'd like Robert Eggers to tackle?
I think he captures like different periods of dialogue very well, and I know that's like a big inspiration for him and his brother, who I believe helps write his scripts, specifically the dialogue. So I think anything that's kind of based off of writings, or like period drama, like him doing Dickens sounds really interesting. I feel like book accurate and tonally accurate Charles Dickens Christmas Carol could be really good. But like another one I would love to see, and maybe it's too ambitious, but like Moby Dick, and it's not just a montage of whale hunting, but like that whole story. I want a 20-minute sequence that's just dissecting a whale and what all the parts are and what's useful. I feel like 20,000 Leagues Under the Sea, Robert Eggers could be incredible.
Cool. Hear me out. Robert Eggers' 10 Commandments.
Oh my fucking god.
Imagine him doing all the plagues.
Absolute cinema.
It'd be cinema.
Would he cast actual Egyptians, or like would it still be white people?
I'd hope in the year of our Lord 2026 we can get accurate. But
tell that to Ridley Scott.
Yeah, I was about to say, as long as Ridley Scott's not directing, I think we're okay.
I don't know. Do we need another 10 Commandments movie?
No, the first one's so good, but if anyone could just make, have it just be about the plagues, like you just said it in when that's happening. The Moses doesn't even have to be the main character. Yeah, call it the 10 plagues.
The 7 plagues of Egypt. That's the name of the movie, not the 10 Commandments.
Yeah. Like it is a horror movie that is in the story of the 10 Commandments.
Who you casted as Moses? Are we getting Jack Peter Skarsgård again?
I wouldn't even know. Who's Anya Taylor-Joy playing?
Ramsey's wife, I guess. That's yikes. I don't know about all that.
I forgot to mention this, just speaking of very weird things. Nicole Kidman's character was wanted, if he killed her husband and survived, she was going to become his wife, I think was the intention, right?
That's what she says.
It was pretty on the nose with the kiss and everything. Yeah. That was some scene.
Yeah,
Mo-
I don't know. I think the acting in that scene's incredible. I think that's the reason
it's her
she
best
got
scene.
cast. Yeah, I think that's the reason she got cast was for that scene. But it is weird, and it is in the source material.
Yeah, I believe I gave this movie on Letterboxd 4 stars. Think it's great. Yeah, with some little mishaps here and there, but at the end of the day, Robert Eggers can't. He doesn't miss.
No, I'm scared for the day that he does. Everyone said this one was a bit of a miss, and I went and saw it a second time in theaters because I was like, no, it's not a miss. This movie kicks ass.
I think
I
watching
haven't-
Nosferatu and then going back, I think kind of helped me like it more because I saw, as said earlier, I kind of saw the foundation of the visual style he was going for, and then I think he kind of not perfected it, but it went 0 to 100 in Nosferatu.
I love how he does this in both movies, and I think he probably learned this doing The Lighthouse. But I love that all of the exterior night scenes are almost black and white. It's a really, really cool trick, and it works so well in both of these movies. I'm very excited to see what this werewolf one looks like.
Yeah.
It's set in 1600s England.
Yeah, not a time period we visit very often either, at least in big budget movies.
I'm curious about that. I think it could be great. I'd love to see him one up himself. I feel like in some ways Nosferatu was like a peak.
Yeah.
I do think that movie has some of its own faults that are kind of aligned with this one's. Like, I think there's weird decisions made with what you're focusing on and when. I think there's some really, really slow moments in both these movies, but I think the scares work really well in Nosferatu.
Yeah.
I think that movie's like creepy as shit.
It's funny in both of those movies. Right before the movie's about to end, you just kind of know what's coming, and it's like, well, this is the ending. It looks very well, it's done very well, but it's kind of like, well, the movie it has to end here. There's no real twist left, and I don't say that's necessarily a bad thing, but that's interesting. It's now happened to him 2 movies in a row. When before that you had something like The Lighthouse, where how the hell is this ending? Like you get to a point in the movie, like where is this going?
Yep. Same with The Witch too. I mean, like,
yeah,
it has a telegraphed ending, and like it's clearly about something, so you know it's going to end with something that's totally vague and weird. But I think it's just because those 2 scripts are more original, whereas these 2 are more based off of something directly. Yeah, maybe the best thing instead of him doing 20,000 Leagues Under the Sea or Moby Dick would be another original period drama. I think he said it in an interview once. He says, I have no interest on showing an iPhone on camera. So I think that was his way of saying, I'm never doing a contemporary film.
No social networks, no social reckoning 2 for Robert Eggers, thankfully. First episode of 2025 or 2026, excuse me, in the bag. Hope you guys enjoyed this episode, and next week I think we're doing the James Cameron movies, right?
Yeah, we're going to talk about the latest one, which is Avatar 3, Fire and Ash, and then we're going to rank his entire filmography.
I think that's going to be a lot of fun, and tune in very soon. Big things happening in the Big 26. We'll probably be getting some guests very soon as we get through this dry January, but this has been At the Movies with Ace and Martin. See you all in the next podcast. No intro in the new year.